Hey, on this episode of Restoring Christine, we're going to cut out a piece of rust from the passenger side door jamb, from crusty rusty to new. If you want to see how we got this done, stay tuned. Hey, welcome to Restoring Christine. So in today's episode, we're going to be repairing the inner door jamb right above the passenger door hinge. This is an area that corroded. I repaired the A-pillar on this passenger side a couple months ago, and now I'm getting into it. I left this part to come back to, and it's got corrosion right above the hinge. It's got corrosion right around this pocket, and it's all a compound curve, so it's mostly curved this way, it's slightly curved that way, and then it's got a flat edge where this hinge bolts in. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Is I'm going to just do a short little video, hopefully. My videos tend to be long, so hopefully this one I can make this one short, and it'll just be on the repair of this little area. So one thing about this hinge, I've already taken it out, and on the back side there's two bolts on the inside that are 9/16 inch. I want to say that this is a 5/16 inch bolt with a 9/16 inch head. Normally 9/16, I think is a different size thread, but this looks to be like a fine thread, and I believe it's 5/16. I could be wrong, but anyway, there's two bolts on the inside, and then there's two screws on the outside that take a number 3 Phillips head. I've already got them broken loose, but one thing I want to point out is the way that this hinge is designed. On the door, in order to adjust the door vertically and also with a tilt, this hinge is able to be slid up and down, rotated in and out. So it's got 1-2 degrees of freedom, so you can go in and out and up and down, and you can also twist it, so to get these two in line in a plane. But so this hinge, it has, unfortunately, if you were going to replace these, I'm studying these a little bit, and I don't need new hinges, but if you do, it looks like passenger side, driver side, top and bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4 hinges, all unique. It looks like if you need this hinge, this is a different one, and the ones on the other side probably can't be flipped upside down because the bolt pattern is in a triangle: 1, 2, 3, 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom, 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom. And so if we zoom in on the ones on the other side over there, 1, 2, 3, 2 in the top, 1 in the bottom. Let's get a closer look at these. So you can see the two bolts in here, the 2 on the outside, and I'm going to take this off and then show you what that mechanism looks like. All right, so I got the hinge off, and you can see in the bottom, you can see the threaded part is a loose plate that is in a pocket behind. Same thing here, it's a loose plate that's in a pocket behind, and then way in the back, same thing. There's a plate with 2 bolt holes, and that's what moves. But let's get into what our project is going to be today. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to use this as my template. I'm going to just bend it right on the surface. And I'm still debating about what to do with this, because I've got a couple of pinholes here, and since that's the surface that this little piece mounts to, I don't know that I want to cut this and weld and grind in here. So what I might do is I might just cut in the curved part, and then I'll maybe build this up with some weld to get this back in, but leave this piece of the original door jamb, because if I start cutting on that, I might create some issues in here that I don't know that I want to deal with. I don't know, if I'm feeling brave, maybe I'll pull this out. We'll see. Well, call me stupid or call me brave, but I went ahead and pried it out of there. Use a screwdriver and pried these little tabs back, and hopefully it's not bent too badly to where I can put it back in and bend it right back. But I think it'll work. I mean, geez, as long as I can keep this square hole, ought to be okay. So let's go with that. Let's see what we got. We'll go ahead and maybe I'll be able to cut this piece in after all. Just as long as I leave this square hole and as long as I leave this space, I should be okay. So let's get started. I made a quick little tape template here in the corner just to give me an idea of how big to cut this piece on the when I go to grab my sheet metal. So that's what I'm going to base it on. I'm going to base it on this. So I've been using 18 gauge metal for all the repairs I've been doing on Christine, but I save the big chunks that I take off of it. So this is the passenger side. No, I'm sorry, the driver's side quarter panel. This is driver's side quarter panel that I repaired or replaced a few videos back, and you know, I saved the piece of sheet metal. It's got some holes in it. It's got some big dents in it. It's got a lot of corrosion. You can see the patch on the back of it. You know, it's a mess, and it's got pitting. But, you know, you come back here, and this doesn't look so bad. In fact, the gray that you see, that's from the sandblasting. So it's solid metal in here. So there's nothing wrong with this. I'm going to go ahead and use this, and to be honest with you, in my mind, that just helps keep the soul of the car. You know, it's 1956 Bel Air, 1956 GM Chevrolet. Why not use the 1956 sheet metal to make the repair if I can? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it out of this piece. Alright, so it's a small piece, got it cut out, got the surface grinded. It's already got a little bit of a curve on it, so I'm going to go with the grain. With the curve, so that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on. You can see how much dome there is. I mean, that's sticking up quite a bit. It's, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of an inch. But what I'm going to do is I happen to have a couple of dome-shaped objects that go to my oxygen acetylene bottles and my argon CO2 bottle. I'm going to use that to get this started. I don't know, we'll see if that works. I wish I had a sand pad and a mallet, but I don't. So I use what you got, and this is what I got. So we'll see if we can get this to work. Well, as you can see, I got it curved. I had better luck with the end of a pipe than I did with the outer spot. So I guess the female worked better than the male. So it's got a decent curve to it now. The tape template is kind of fitting. So now this is close enough so that I can start cutting it out and getting it over to the car. And I'm going to use the car to shape the rest of it. I did the driver's side without bending any of it on the bench, and then this I'm just getting a head start, so this ought to do it. So let's get over there and see if we can't start fitting it in. All right, I got the piece over by the door jamb. I've got a clamp kind of in here set. It's crooked because I can't get it square in here. I just can't get to it. But what I'm going to do is I've got most of the bend in it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to clamp this surface close. I've got it roughed in as far as my shape, so I'm going to clamp this tight and then tack weld this, and while it's tack welded, that'll hold this, and then I'll be able to take a mallet and I'll be able to push this back in, and eventually I'll get it pushed back in and get that full concave that we need. So that's what I'm gonna do next. So before I start welding, let me show you my welding rig. This is one of the things that people do ask about. There's a lot of videos out there that are much better than mine that talk about the proper way to weld sheet metal and whatnot. Fitzee's Fabrication, he's got some awesome videos. He's got one that goes over the entire spectrum of flux core wire versus solid wire and gas, 0.023, 0.030, 0.035 wire. I mean, he's got a great video out there, and I'll post a link up here to that. Major props to Fitzee. Well aware of his channel, love it. I've subscribed long ago, and he's been a big influence on what I do on this car. But let me just show you what I'm doing so you can understand, at least, you know, when you see my results, This is how I'm getting them. So this is a Hobart Handler 125. It plugs into a little 15 amp circuit. It's a 120 volt machine. It does everything I need to do. It's got 4 voltage settings, 1, 2, 3, 4. And because I'm spot welding, tack welding, and just short, quick bursts and try to maintain heat, I weld this very hot. So for me, it works with the wire feed at about 70 and the voltage on number 3 for 18 gauge metal. I'm using a mixture of argon CO2. So this is 75% argon, 25% CO2. And I've got a flow regulator on it. You crack the bottle open, and when the machine's on, the little ball will come up and it regulates the amount of flow. And let's see, I'm gonna turn it on and just see where I'm at with my settings, because I don't remember off the top of my head. I just know that they work. So I am. So it's coming up at about here at 30 or so, whatever gauge, whatever reading that is. I'd have to look it up. So if I figure it out, I'll post it here and just put it in text. All right, let's go inside of the machine. You can see what we're dealing with. So I have 0.023 wire, 23 thousandths. This is solid core wire. This is a 10-pound spool. I don't know the metal grade this is, but there's the alloy that's listed, and this is Well-Coat Metals. This came from a local welding shop. So on the machine, you can see it shows it the polarity, which is DC electrode negative for flux core and DC electrode positive for solid with gas, and that's what I'm dealing with. So down here, you got to make sure to have the positive goes to your wire feed, your gun, and the negative goes to your ground wire. So the ground wire is connected to the negative. The torch or the trigger is to the electrode is on the positive side. So I'm going to set this up, go ahead and start welding. Hopefully that helps. So let me show you what I'm doing. So I put this one tack weld here, and then I took my mallet. So I've got a mallet that I've ground smooth on the top. So this is all a nice smooth shape. I've got that smooth and polished, but that's what I use as a body hammer when I want some weight. But I went ahead and without having this tack, I just had this one tack because it was kind of sitting proud a little bit. And then I just tapped on it and got this all concaved in where it aligns with that. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screwdriver, and I want to get this sharp edge, because this edge comes up and then over and then back in here. And you can see I started doing it. That's the wrong screwdriver. All right, so then I came in here and started just chasing that in the hole. I'm sorry, chasing that in the seam. So I've been working on it, the mallet and the screwdriver, and I got it shoved way up tight in that corner where it was, and this is flat. So this is flat, this is all curved. My cut is going to be here, and then over here and here, and following that. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this yet, but we're going to keep going. Got it fitting like I like it. So it pops in there really well. I've flattened this. I'm going to end up welding that in and just kind of using like double thick. As long as I'm not in the way of where this hinge mounts, I'll be okay. So I'm going to end up grinding this a little bit, but this will all end up welding in. I marked it with a pencil, so I scribed my outside edge. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. I would normally like to weld this in place and then cut around it like Fitzee's cut and butt method, but it's just in a tight pocket. I'm not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to take my time and clear this out just enough in order to get this in, and then once I do that, then we'll go ahead and weld it. So I'm going to put this on time lapse, and away we go. there it is. We got it. Fought me quite a bit around the edges. I don't know how there must be more corrosion than what I was able to see nearby. It was just blowing through, and it was just fighting me. So I didn't want to over grind it, so it's a little bit rough, and that's why you see these shadows. But it's gonna do well. To make myself feel a little better, I'm gonna shoot a little bit of primer on it and make it look better. But and there you go. So primer makes everything look good. There's a couple pinholes I'll have to fix in there, but I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so do appreciate everybody watching my videos. Getting subscriptions are coming up, and that's good. A thumbs up are also doing well. I've got a few videos that are getting up there in number of views, and it's encouraging. So at least, you know, I'm just trying to put stuff out there that'll be helpful, entertaining, useful. You know, so if you're gonna spend time with me in the garage, you know, it should be worthwhile. So thank you for watching. Appreciate all the encouragement. Take care of yourself. Cheers.